and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles, as always. On this week's show, my guest and I will be reviewing our 196th North London Derby 1-0 victory away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Come on, you Gunners. And remember to check out our supporters bar, the River Bar, for all our 24-25 fixtures. All new members welcome, and regulars, of course. So sit back and enjoy the show. On tonight's show, I'm joined by regular guests at this stage and avid Gooners. First of all, to Northampton-based Gooner, Carl Ozzy Osborne. How are you, pal?
Oh, I'm a lot better after yesterday's result, Johnny boy. I'm a lot better.
As you can see, Ozzy's in the gardens of the Highbury Stadium.
Where else?
It looks a great scene. And I'm also joined outside the Marble Halls by Matt Bourne. How are you, Matt?
I'm good, buddy. Good to be back on again.
As you can see, I've never seen so many smiles on our faces for a show, especially when you beat your neighbours' neighbour.
The sunset was more beautiful this morning, or the sunrise was more beautiful this morning, should I say?
Absolutely, yeah. Everything has worked. It's been a perfect Monday, I have to say.
Yeah.
Let us sing a song for you. As I said, you can catch our show as always on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, thanks to Martin and Stonewall who puts it all together, and also on Spotify, where we're getting really good views and listeners. So as always, like, comment and subscribe, and thanks to our friends at Pepsi, Thirsty for More. Give them a like and a subscribe on Twitter. I know Matt likes Coca-Cola, so he might.
No, I had Pepsi last time. No, I did, absolutely, yeah.
You look on the vino tonight, mate. Weird.
As always, Ozzy has to interrupt rudely, but sorry about that. No, we're really going well. I think the 30-minute shows is really going down well, for our review show and our preview. So thanks to everyone that watches us and listens to us, and long may our audience continue to grow. Nearly up to 3,300 subscribers now for the channel. So got really going, man. And thanks to Martin and Derek that puts together the TikTok as well. So all our social media channels really going from strength to strength. I suppose as long as Arsenal keep doing well, believe in the process. And here we go. We'll kick on to, as always, our match review. 1-0 against the Spurs yesterday. A Gabriel Tumpin header after 64 minutes sealed another 3 points. And our 3 goals from corners now in our last 2 meetings at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 3 wins in a row now for Arteta at the stadium as well. An impressive record. I suppose the notes I have, lads, from the first half. Kai Havertz had a well-timed header saved by Vicario. A superb cross from Martinelli, who thought done really well against Porro and Van de Ven. And he was unlucky himself, Martinelli. He tried to do an Henry type finish, that corner effort, but I think he saw down his vision Van de Ven coming on top of him like a steam train, and just kind of lost his composure. But they were giving out no match of the day, Walcott and Danny Rose, about he should have squared it into Saka, but I think Martinelli, he was just going at such pace that he probably didn't see Saka, and I do commend him for his efforts. If on another day he probably would go in, but he hasn't scored in a while, Martinelli, and it was probably going through his mind, when they're closing in on goal. But I thought he had a really good game yesterday. He gave Porro really a headache. Solanke had a loop and header from Maddison's cross as well shortly after. It kind of gave Ray a bit of a panic, but it was going well wide. But I think thankfully Dominic Solanke, he had a bit of a knock, and I say if come January, he probably causes a bit more of a headache, but I don't think he's up to speed, and I think that really played into our hands. Jorginho and Partey immense in midfield yesterday. Rice and Odegaard weren't really missed, which says a lot about our depth, our squad depth. The yellow cards were really flying. 7 in the first half, as Paul Merson says. he was handing out yellow cards, like handing out ice creams, as one said. Ridiculous, really. But it was nothing compared to Chelsea and Bournemouth 14 yellows, and I hope that's not a trend that we're going to see game on game, because it's just the yellow cards are just ridiculous. You have to let the game flow, in my opinion. I suppose the main talking point in the first half, Timber going in on Porro, but I think when you see it more and more, he was going for he had his foot on the ball, and there was nothing malicious really in it. I think it was just the speed it was at, and Porro made it a complete meal of it as well. And I kind of lost a bit of respect for the lad. I thought he's a good fullback, but he was going, they were going down Spurs with some tackles and looking for cards to be shown. But that's the filth that they are. Great to see Raheem Sterling and Nathan and Weary getting their first taste of the North London Derby. I say Dermot, our guest from the previous show, was quite happy with the result yesterday. we all said, I have to say, we all said 2-2 in that game. Thank God it went in our favour. Gabriel then late in the second half made a tackle on Solanke, but it was a blatant dive in the box. And then I think in the first minute injury time, Kulusevski had an effort that was going well over, but I think, in terms of our display yesterday, 1-0 to the Arsenal, it was like the old days, as I was saying to Ozzy under George Graham. We got the goal, I think, at the right time in the 64-minute. It kind of knocked the stuffing out of Spurs. I think Spurs are really lacking a Harry Kane. There's just no one up, there's just no one there for them, thank God, up front. But here, look, it's 3 clean sheets out of 4 now for Raya. He's going from strength to strength. Another win at White Hart Lane, 10 points, and that comes to this Sunday's match against City. Top of the table clash so early on. Psychologically, I think that would mean so much if we bet City and went top. But I don't want to come to you, Ozzy, in terms of yesterday's match. A fantastic 1-0 win. From your perspective, what did you think of the game?
Well, look, let me talk about pre-match firstly. I'll talk about pre-match. I've got a bit of a disclaimer to put in here. So, look, all the questions were about the injuries, weren't they, to Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, massive cloud over it. And there's a lot of meltdowns on social media. And I've got to be honest, Johnny, I was close to that myself. And I'm going to talk about my prediction here, because I did say to send Johnny a message saying, I'll tell you what, they're going to do 2-0. But what you will learn with me and Spurs predictions is I always play my cards safe and apply a little bit of emotional insurance to my predictions, just in a hope that I'm completely wrong. But I'll be honest with you, I was really worried about the game until just before kickoff, and then I saw the teams. And then I looked at teams, and there's another thread I'm in with some of the guys. I think Johnny Sparks is in it and stuff like that. But I'll put on there, look at that team. I think 9 players out of our 11 start for Spurs, in my opinion, when I looked at those teams. And I've got to be honest with that. And I'm taking exception to probably Jorginho, Partey or Martinelli, I don't know, one of them as well. But the rest of them, I think every one of them walks into a team. And I felt a bit calmer when the teams got announced, to be honest. I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know what Mikel Arteta was going to do. But what we'll talk about the game now. And what I felt we did really well is the shape that we held. I think we changed things up. I think Mikel Arteta's shown he's a quality manager now. Because even at the start of the game, I couldn't see what formation we was going to play with that team we put out there. Sometimes they were 4-4-2. There was occasions when they were 5-3-2, and you could see that throughout the team. You had the back five. We all know what that's going to be, didn't we? But then at times, Partey would drop in as an extra centre back. You had Saka drop in as a sort of a wing back. And then Martinelli was the only one. He put a shift in, and I know we would criticise him for his final decisions and those final balls, but and he probably should have done better with that chance. But overall, for the shifts that they all put in, I saw the shape of it front. I think Trossard was at times playing alongside Havertz. I don't know if you saw that on the pitch, and it was like a solid 4-4-2. But what they did was, we know by missing Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard that, in midfield, we could easily become overrun. We've got Thomas Partey in there, we've got Jorginho. So what they did is they kept it tight. In my view, they kept it tight. They didn't allow much space, because if there's no space, they've got nowhere to run it. And they played to our strengths. When you look at Jorginho and Partey, I think they made it so compact in that midfield. But ultimately, it doesn't matter how athletic you are. There's no space to move. And it's almost reminded me a bit. It sort of reminded me a little bit of the shape we was doing against Brighton when we went down to 10. We kind of sat back a little bit. We invited him in. We hit him on a counter, was ferocious in our counter attacks and the way he was attacking them. And I don't think they were ready for it because they put an attacking side out there, but we just kept on soaking it up. And I think our back five could have played for another 180 minutes and not conceded a goal.
Yeah,
because they were so solid. Like,
there was a good point made on Match of the Day too. Sorry for cutting across you. That I think it was Danny Rose and Dio Walcott that Arsenal love defending now. You know, they look like they actually enjoy that part of the game. And they did actually yesterday, didn't they? They defended so well.
And that's it. You know, I reckon it could have gone another 180 minutes. Not because we would just invite them on. We'll let you have the ball. We'll let you have a ball. Have a ball. Come at us. Yeah, because we're going to hurt you. We're going to hurt you when we attack. And had Martinelli been on his A game, I think this would have been a lot more convincing. I think Saka played a different role. I found him very more defensive.
Yeah,
he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And I think the player that I've not seen, there's lots of talk about sort of how well Gabriel played and how well Timber played. I thought Timber was absolutely fantastic. But actually, Kai Havertz, I looked at the Opta stats. He had the most touches of the ball out of any player. Right. So him being an outlet for that, because the midfield and the defence, they just sat back, let it play. But then Kai was there to have that ball, be an outlet for it constantly. He was absolutely brilliant, I thought. And I check the stats for the Sporting as I always do for a podcast. And I think Kai Havertz had most touches. I think the most amount of ground covered was by Kai Havertz. Second was Jorginho, by the way, for his first start of the season. So that's absolutely brilliant, But yeah, I just think overall, you've covered sort of the points in the match. I think Spurs did look like they didn't know what to do against us.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to cover every point because I need Matt to talk about some, but just I thought first half, second half, our set pieces again. The only thing I'm going to have a rant about, which I nearly started before the pod, was about the Gabriel goal and all the media and the punditry saying that was there a push there? There's a push there. I've heard certain pundits come out there and say there was a push on Romero. Let's be honest, right? Like, we need a bit. We talk about consistency of referees, but we need it with the media as well. Last season, he was getting criticised for being weak against Joel Linton when he pushed him aside and headed that ball across. Right? I'd love to know how the media come up with that as a push. Romero needs to be stronger there. If that was an Arsenal player, if that was Rob Holding, we criticised for not being strong enough, or anyone else, if Gabriel had been pushed off a ball like that for Romero to score at the other end, I'd have been absolutely seething with him. He's got to be stronger. It's a contact sport at the end of the day. I know you. It's an easy thing to say. It was very much emphasis on it.
Yeah.
It winds me up. It winds me up. Anyway, before I come on too much, I've got leave stuff to say. But I thought, the shape of us. I thought it was a professional performance. I thought it was one of the best tactical games I've seen Mikel Arteta play. I'm not getting carried away in the hype in North London derby. But generally, I think it was. I think he's left Ange scratching his head because he just didn't know what to do against us. Yeah. And when the fans are sitting there watching week in, week out, are sitting there, don't know, can't work out what they're going to do with this team and this formation. That says a lot. And I think he kept him guessing, but we were 4-4-2, 5-3-2. We kept him guessing. And ultimately, I just think we've just shown how good this team are. And if we can get any kind of result next week, these last 3 games have been a success, in my opinion.
Briefly, before I come on to Matt, your take, Ozzy, and the Urian Timber incident in the first half. Do you think Porro was a disgrace in the way he went down, or do you think could that have been a red card on another day?
I wouldn't have said disgrace. I would have also said it wouldn't have been a red card. I think the media played that up again. Maybe Gary Neville. Referee's got to make a decision. He's got to make a decision. He stood on the ball. And granted, had he gone over the top of it, it was barely any contact. I'll be honest with you. After watching all the replays, I was disappointed he got a yellow card for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it actually was as well. Yeah, I think him grabbing onto Vicario was more of a yellow card than the actual incident itself, wasn't it?
But again, that just shows the fight in that team. You know, he's not going to. I thought Timber was excellent. You know, it's going to be really hard to choose a man of the match, and we'll go to that in a bit. But you know, I generally think Timber, for me, I put him in my notes in the first half. I put him in my notes in the second half, and that's his first 90 minutes. People, I mean, he's not fully there yet.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't wait to see him when he's fully fit.
And the speed of him to get down the wing after that happened, his burst of speed is just incredible, isn't it?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's going to be another weapon in the RCA. Gabriel got man of the match through Sky Sports, but I think Union Timber had to be close second to him. But as a defensive unit, I thought everyone, all 11 lads, really gave Spurs nothing yesterday. They ran out of ideas. So the first half, they had so many chances. They ran out of ideas. And I think in the second half, they were scratching their heads. How can we change this? You know, they just don't have that same personnel as we have that can turn a game. Madison had a really poor game, and I was dreading him actually last week. We were saying in the previous show that if Madison gets on top of his form for in yesterday's game, he could have caused us real problems, but thankfully Jorginho Party snuffed him out not really well.
These are a good Spurs side. I hate to say it, they're a good team. They've played really well all season.
Yeah, they've been just unlucky in the results.
We've just stifled them,
nullified them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Matt's been waiting outside the Marble House. I have to say, great weather behind you. And just before I come on to the review with you, Matt, you were in the River Bar yesterday. What was the atmosphere like?
Jonathan, you know, it gets better and better. You know, it was an exceptional atmosphere. You know, a lot of new members in there yesterday as well. A lot of new people signing up. Week in, week out, we're getting, you know, maybe 10 new members signing up. The atmosphere is absolutely electric. Everybody's in great form. Everybody's getting on. Everybody's hugging people who they've never seen before. You know, there was a couple of guys out from London yesterday as well. One was an Arsenal fan, one was a Watford fan, and you know, we took them into the group and you know kept them welcome. You know, and you know, I had a friend come in yesterday as well, and his son signed up and everything else. So it was just brilliant. And week in, week out, it just gets better and better and better in there. We've a great setup. We've got the new posters and we've got the new merchandise and everything else. So there's a lot of things there for people to do. And it's really, it's grown so well. And it's credit to, you know, everybody who's put in the hard work. You know, there's so many names there who've put in some great work on it. But yeah, absolutely loving it. Martin's doing a great job there with the interviews and everything else we spoke about just before we came on. So it's great. It's absolutely brilliant to see, and it's getting that, you know, there's more and more family like every week, every time we go in. So long may that continue, and onwards and upwards, and let's get something out this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks again, of course, to the River Bar for putting up with us. And it's great to see more and more new members signing up. It's becoming a real family affair as well, and a really friendly atmosphere. Not just saying that myself, but because we're part of the supporters club, but it really is. It separates us amongst other, you know. I'm sure other Arsenal clubs are the same, but we're getting bigger by the year. You know, what started off with 50 people years ago is turning into hundreds now. So, big well done to the Dublin Arsenal committee. Yeah, you were there yesterday, Matt. I know, in the River Bar. But what was your take on another North London derby victory at Tottenham?
Beautiful, just beautiful. What else can you say? You know, obviously, Carl made a lot of good points. A lot of the same things I would have said in relation to the game. The discipline that Mikel Arteta has brought into certain games. You know, there's certain games like that you need to dig in. You need to do it the tough way. But from the off, I had absolutely zero worry about beating them yesterday. I like from the very off, I you know, usually before North London derby, you'd be tense and biting the nails and everything else. I was so confident yesterday. I was so confident. I thought they'd win by more, but it was so disciplined, and you just knew it was coming. You knew we were gonna sneak the win. I certainly knew we were gonna sneak the win. I had no fear when they were breaking forward. I thought we controlled them so well through the midfield, so well. when they got near our box, you just knew there was somebody there going to knock it out. You know, or going to make a good tackle. Saliba made a fantastic challenge in the game there yesterday as well when they were right at the edge of the box. Gabriel was exceptional. I've already pointed out Timber was different class. And, you know, for the amount of chances we created, Kai Havertz was immense, absolutely immense. And he does make that difference. A lot of the time, you know, last season I was kind of concentrating, watching a certain player in a match just to see what they do, because I did feel for a long time last season. I've been pimping Kai Havertz up for a long time, you know, but I did feel last season that you were kind of thought he did nothing in a game. But when you actually watch a player and you watch what they've done and the little things they do and the little layoffs and finding space in the right places and, you know, distracting the defense and everything else, he does an exceptional job. Absolutely exceptional job. He's not your 40-goal striker a season, you know, 40-goal a season striker, but he puts in a hell of a shift. And credit to Arteta for getting that out of him, because no one saw it coming. No one saw how good he would be, and we all know we talk about Saka week in, week out, and you know, but there's a lot of players in there who just don't get enough credit, and for a player like him, he's just been absolutely sensational. There was just a little thing about Martinelli. Martinelli was very, very good yesterday. He did give them a terrible time down that side of the pitch.
Yeah.
I thought he could have done so much better with that. I think the pass across the box was probably difficult.
Yeah.
It was easier to shoot. Yeah. But you've got to make the goalkeeper work for that. You can't put it straight into his hands.
In, Matt, do you think he should have done another yard further in, and that could have possibly?
You know, I just felt he made it far too easy for the keeper. You know, I mean, you've got to make the goalkeeper tip that over the bar, or, you know, scramble for it. You know, don't put it straight into his arms. You know, and I think, like, listen, I love Martinelli. I really do, but you know, we've a lot of cover there now with Trossard and with Sterling coming in now as well, and you know, there's a lot of fighting for them spaces as well. And you know, if you get into that position, he did the hard work brilliantly to get by the player and to bring it inside, and you've got to get that on. You've got to put that in the back of the net, or you've got to at least make the goalkeeper make a worldy save. You know, I think Martinelli is. You know, he's definitely missing that from his game. That clinicalness. You know, he does get into good positions, but he holds on to the ball for too long sometimes. Everything else. Listen, I'm not criticising him, because you cannot criticise anybody at that pitch yesterday. We put in an unbelievable shift. One of the most, like Ozzy said, one of the most disciplined performances he's ever seen from Arteta. But we've done a lot of them over the last few years. Remember the game against Newcastle a couple of seasons ago, and we went there after losing the previous season. And we did that same job. You know, we did it against City, where we just dug in and got them on the break. You know, so whatever he's able to do to produce that out of the players. Jorginho came in yesterday after not playing all season, and put in an absolutely amazing performance. You know, we missed, you know, and we were all thinking during the week, on the social media was going wild about, oh, we're missing Rice and we're missing Odegaard, blah, blah, blah. I had no fear. You know, I had no fear. And a friend texted me during the week and said, oh, I'm really worried about the game. And I said, as we well know, Tottenham are shit. And that was it, you know. I had no fear. I have no fear. I even, with respect to my couple of acquaintances who support Tottenham, they were straight on, you know, and the clapping hands emoji and well done and everything else, because, you know, we were that good yesterday. I know Tottenham had a lot of possession. I know they probably had the better of the chances, but we did have a couple of very good chances too. Martinelli, Havertz, the goalkeeper, made a very good save from Havertz's header. He got down very well to stop that as well. Raya made a couple of good stops as well. Listen, I think it was exceptional. Very, very happy. You cannot beat a Monday morning after beating Tottenham. It just, you know, it's Monday. It's a horrible day. You're back in work, back to the grind. But smile on the face this morning, and that was it. You know, it's super, absolutely super.
How impressed were you with the header from Gabriel? I've never seen someone leap like a salmon. And
But he's done it before.
He wanted that more than the Spurs defender did. Like they were saying in Match of the Day, Vicario should have came for. But I think the delivery was so good, he didn't have a chance to come for it.
Well, if you see the delivery, as Saka's doing the delivery, he does kind of shunt a Tottenham player forward. I think it was Romero, was it?
Yeah.
I think he just had his hands on Romero's back and kind of pushed him forward a bit, and then walked back with nobody marking him. And put it away, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. You know, it's very tactical. It's like Ben White when Ben White goes in and tries to take a goalkeeper's glove off, or you know.
I had nightmares about him, did I?
Like when Ben White there last year, you know, got Cucurella on the ground against Chelsea. No foul whatsoever, and then Cucurella is looking around like he's looking for him. You know, when you're defending like that. You know, the way Arteta sets the guys up, or the way the coaches set them up, they're just made for playing like this. And you know, we've played 4 games, we only conceded 1 goal. And you know, whether if Rice hadn't been sent off or not, who knows if that would have been conceded or whatever else, you know. But we are exceptional in defence. We're right back to the George Graham days, 1991. You know, with that type of defence, we're that good. And there's nobody can compete with us. So, in relation to, you know, going out and playing a City or whatever else, they're going to be like, you know, we're not previewing the game, but if we put in that same type of performance against City, we get something out of the game. I'm not saying Tottenham are nowhere near as good as City, obviously, but them tactics that Arteta brings into the side sometimes, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And, you know, more and more over the last couple of years, I've just been in awe of how he has set the team up to play, how we've had injuries, we've had squad issues, and, you know, a lot of Hale End players and everything else. And we've kind of been really worried looking at a bench. I don't fear it anymore. We had a couple of lads on the bench yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who they were, you know? And a few of the people in there as well were saying to me, you know, I'd never heard of this guy before, you know. So we were fairly thin when it came to it with our subs yesterday. But you know what? Arteta's getting the best out of this side, absolutely the best, and we really, really can go far this season. We've got to believe it. 3rd time lucky, 2-2 and 1 would be fantastic, you know. But and on another note, I don't know if I want to see City deducted points. I want to beat them on our own merit. I don't want people to be saying, well, City are, you know, deducted 30 points or whatever else, and that's why you want it. No, if we win this league, it's because we fucking deserve it. We absolutely deserve it. And let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. We've a lot of tough fixtures coming up again. We've got Liverpool coming up. We've got City coming up. But I'm very confident. Very, very confident.
Yeah, it was great to see Nathan Namwery coming on. I know he came in the 85th minute, but you could see the hunger straight away, and it was you know, it was quite nice of, you know, Sterling just told him, and Jesus when he came on, they just told him, you just stay up front and we'll look after the rest, you know, just not to give shoulder the response. But he wanted to, what I liked about him, he wanted to get into tackles, you know, he wasn't only listening to the older players, and you could just see the hunger every player that comes on, whether they're new or they're young or they're well known, like Sterling and Jesus, they all of them put in a shift, you know, and if you're not giving 100%, you're not getting in that team. And we've seen so many big names. Arteta isn't afraid to ship you on, you know, if you're not winning. But I know you haven't been on in a while, Matt. How pleased are you with the signing of Raheem Sterling? Do you think he can give us? Is there still more to see of him? You know,
100%, 100%. And you know, when you like his Chelsea career kind of went like Havertz's Chelsea career. You know, so a new lease of life. He's looked very sharp in training. You know, I think he'll probably get a run out he'll get a full run out next week against Bolton in the Carling Cup.
Happy days.
But you know, like,
but I think that could be the game where if he's more than capable to score 2 or 3. That could be
it's a great problem to have. You know, it's a great problem to have. You know, he's a proven Premier League striker. He's been absolutely fantastic for most of the clubs he's played for.
Yeah.
And you know, whatever way Chelsea are operating, it's just impossible to know. They're giving guys, you know, I see who was it, Jackson signed a new contract from there last week till 2034 or something. You're like, what? You know, he already had a contract till 2032. You know, it makes no sense. You know. So there's something very fishy going on with Chelsea. I'm sure the Premier League are looking at them very intently.
It's absolutely mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling. Absolutely.
Their transfer fees were spread over 10 years, though. Yeah.
I think Sterling was a very good signing. He's very good. You know, it was kind of, you know, where else it seemed like you know where else to go, and Arteta says, come on, you know. But to have him as a squad player, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Premier League experience, him and Neto, very clever signings on the last day. You know, they're bringing quality and experience along with new blood as well. It's very clever. It's very clever business. Like for you to say at the start of the show on OZZY that we didn't fear Spurs, I haven't heard that in so long, because Spurs over the last few years before Arteta came in, they were always beating us nearly home and away. But the tide has literally turned. But having Arteta, of course, last week signing another 3-year deal, I say ours the fans are just saying our Christmases are coming at once.
That was a master stroke from the club. That announcement.
Absolutely, OZZY. Do you think if he didn't sign, do you think there was a fear of him leaving? No.
I think it was just a case of when to announce it. And you know what, with all the news and the negativity around the injuries and Declan Rice, I think that was pushed forward. I thought they brought it forward towards, or was it always planned to be before that game? Because it gave everyone a boost, didn't it?
Yeah. You'd like to see him getting a contract similar to what Chelsea give theirs and give Arteta an 8-year contract. Like, that'd be great. You know, with fickle fans and all that, you lose a couple of games and that's the end of that.
But be realistic as well.
No, it's great times. Absolutely great times.
Too comfortable as well. It keeps them on their toes. But the relationship. I think Arteta having played for Arsenal is a huge thing. But he's got that Guardiola type thing in him. He wants to succeed, and he won't take. He'll go through fire to get it. You can just see his hunger even when we score. It's like he's playing again. He's so animated, but he believes in it. It's quite refreshing, and it's given Arsenal fans a whole new. Like, even when you go to the Emirates now, I've always said it, and the few times I can go, there's a different buzz about the ground. Like there's being sang in the concourse nearly an hour before the game. At times it was like being in a living room. When we were doing so bad, people were like hiding and don't want to talk, but everyone's just come together as a big family. And of course, Louis Dunford has done quite well over it as well. 1-0 to the Arsenal. North London forever. North London is red for the foreseeable future. So move aside, Spurs. We're on our way back. I could eat my words come Sunday and we get his bat about something. But no, really pleased. And that result leaves us now second, with 10 points, 2 points behind City, and that game on Sunday now. As Paul Merson said, he was dreading Spurs and City on the Soccer Saturday show, but he says if we get 4 points from these two games, and if not, why not get 6 points from these two games? Do you believe, lads, coming to you, OZZY, if we can get 4 or 6 points from, well, we already got 3, but if we can add a win or even a draw at City, do you think that shows our title credentials for the season? That
absolutely, we want to win, don't we? We want to go down and win. We want to go down and make a statement. To be honest, when you look at, again, I mean, Eamon always says, look at the fixtures as a collective. When I looked at Brighton, Spurs, and City as a collective, I suppose you could put the Villa game in there, but out of those 3 games I've just mentioned, for me, if you'd have said to me, you get 1 win and 2 draws out of them, you'd have probably took it at the start of it.
Exactly.
But actually, if we can beat Man City, that would be an amazing period through that tough patch. Plus, we've got Villa away in that as well. You got to say, we got 3 points there, which was not unexpected, but it was not easy as well. I think just sort of going back to the game yesterday, but not talking about the match analysis. But I think we're starting to win games in a tunnel. The way it works. It's and what I'm going to talk about. You know what I'm going to talk about now. You know, we win games in the tunnel, but you know, Tottenham showed us a lot of respect, right? And I think Man City is probably the only team that's going to line up in the tunnel against us and think they can take us as well. And I think all the other teams, we've probably got that one over now. But yeah, we need to get that lad, that mascot. We need to get him every game. I don't know if you saw it, Matt. The way he pushed those out of the way. Honestly,
I think Northampton is trying to draw him up now as well to put him on the wall outside the Emirates. You know,
if we can get, you know, like that little mascot riding on Winver dog in Sparta uniform, taking on the City mascots, and like a scene from 300, mate. I think that's what we need to be doing. Getting him out there. But what a little lad he was. But you know, all joking aside, I think, you know, when you look at them in the tunnel, they're not making eye contact with the Arsenal players, because the Arsenal players, if you're looking at that back five, just talk about them alone, you're winning that winning mentality. The Arsenal were back. Well, I was back last season, but you know, we went to Spurs and they completely showed us too much respect. If I'm a Spurs fan, I'm annoyed with the amount of respect they showed yesterday. And I think City's the only team that won't do that against us. I know we're not going into preview of that, but you know, that's my view on, you know, I think mentality, we've got a great mentality at this club.
Yeah,
I'd like to get your man of the matches from yesterday, lads. I'm going to go with Yuri and Timber myself. I thought he'd done immense for his first full 90 minutes and his first North London derby. I thought he was absolutely immense. He didn't give, you know, as a fullback, he didn't let his side of it down or Ben White, but I'd only give it to Yuri and Timber for his effortless work. Ozzy, your man of the match?
I'm going to go with Gabriel purely on the fact that I think Timber and Gabriel, the only thing that separates them is a goal. In my eyes, I think that we, you know, they've two stood out for me. I was on the fence, but then when Gabriel scored, you know, I think he wins that for me. But great shout as well for yours, Johnny.
Yeah. Matt Bourne, your man of the match?
I think I'd agree with Ozzy on that. You know, I said it about Gabriel late last season that, you know, Saliba gets all the plaudits because he's amazing, and Gabriel just sits there in the background and does some unbelievable work. And yet again yesterday he was just exceptional. I would have put Jorginho up there too, and certainly Timber as well, and a bit of an outside share for Havertz too. But you know, Gabriel got the goal. He was immense in defence, and nothing was getting through us yesterday. Yeah. So I'll give it to Gabriel as well.
Yeah, it reminds you of Steve Bold and Tony Adams back in the day in the 89 season. Yeah. That's Gary Neville mentioned, and it's great to see the media giving us the respect that we deserve, thank God. It's great when you hear it from a Mank as well. Briefly, lads, I don't guess your predictions for next Sunday, since I have you here, beginning with you.
Preview show for that.
I don't get them while you're here to name and shame you next week. Ozzy first.
I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. Why not?
Yeah, boy. And Matt Bourne?
Oh, God. You know, I had a lot of confidence yesterday. I still have the same confidence for next weekend, to be honest. I think we're well able to compete with them. But I think 0-0 or we'll sneak a 1-0, similar to what we saw yesterday. I think we'll spend a lot of time on the back foot next week because City are unbelievable, they're immense. But I think we could sneak it as well. So I'm going to say, I'll go ahead and say 1-0 to us.
Just imagine a Sterling winner, eh? A Sterling winner, imagine that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be nice.
I think this game is made from, lads. I've said this last week as well. I think this game could be made from off the bench. I don't want to go with a sneaky 1-0, but probably realistically, probably be 0 written all over it. I'd just like to thank Matt Bourne and Carl Ozzy Osborne. Thanks for coming on, lads.
Thank you.
Really good preview show. Any show is great when you win over Spurs. And I hope that's cheered us up for the week ahead. With Atalanta, of course, coming up on Thursday evening, 8 p.m. in our first Champions League match. As always, you can catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and on Spotify. So until next week for a review of Manchester City. Thanks for listening and subscribe to our channel. Thanks, lads.
Come on, cheers, guys. Thanks a million. Cheers.